I'm alive, Chuds. I'm alive. I basically had another mini vacation. Spoopy, guys. We're playing a horror game around Christmas. It's perfect time. Oh yeah, I was gonna watch the Ptolemy vid. That's what I was gonna do. This will be a good one for my chilled brain. We're not gonna spend too much time on this because I can already feel my brain is starting to go. Despite theoretically having nothing to lose, we're still not seeing action. Some people here need to stop being retarded and defending Severage unironically. He literally hired an Arab guy to kill his own white child. What? Because no child support. He's a fucking psycho. I certainly was never defending him unironically. I do think the insane shit he says is funny as fuck, but he's definitely a lunatic. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the vast majority of chat, if anybody really actually defends them, it's just people. It's hard to tell when people are joking. Oh yeah, I was gonna watch the Ptolemy vid. That's what I was gonna do. This will be a good one for my chilled brain. We're not gonna spend too much time on this because I can already feel my brain is starting to go today. But we can watch maybe 2 or 3 vids. Nick Spence, thanks $5. Any thoughts on getting Nick Rayner on Chudcast? I don't remember who that is. The name sounds familiar. Oh, the guy who killed his parents. Right, yeah. Sure. Any day now. He'll be on Chudcast.
The Zoomers are so fucking sick of this shit. And more so than the millennials and Gen Xers, you know, they can see that this narrative of Western European collective guilt, it's just a bunch of shit. And whether you hear it on the left or you hear it coming from the right, the purpose of the critique is ultimately to suppress nationalism. In that the religion of the boomers, you know, anti-racism, post-World War II, open society, liberalism, you know, it simply cannot allow real nationalism in Europe to exist. You know, that's the point. That's what never again means. Never again can we allow nationalism to
I wonder what Devin's laughing about.
Europe.
Did the mic pick that up? I was also thinking Halo footage isn't the same without me killing Thomas or both of us dying to stupid shit, you know? But, okay, it didn't pick up Devin's laugh. He did a crazy laugh. Okay.
Right, that's the worst thing that could ever happen. And, you know, the Zoomers are listening to this. They've been raised in this anti-European, anti-white milieu, and they are asking the questions, well, why? Why is nationalism so bad? Because you look around and you see the multicultural stew that is the US and the UK, with these different racial and ethnic groups competing and organizing politically. And yet we're being told that for a white European to do the same is like Nazism or something. And that's the worst thing ever, because Hitler's the devil. You know, Satan isn't the devil, Hitler's the devil. So whatever you find at the opposite end of this moral spectrum must represent the ultimate good, you know? So if Hitler, the German politician, is the ultimate evil in the modern context, then, you know, who's God? Who's the God of Clown World? Anti-fascism becomes a kind of holy crusade against the devil. And more of these Zoomers are watching this timeline play out. They're watching this slow genocide of the European people in their own...
This is unrelated to this, sort of. But I guess Ho Math was mentioned on Joe Rogan. Maybe we could react to that clip on here. But even like Joe Rogan, this is not surprising to be fair, but I guess he even said some comment about like talking shit about young people not being able to get dates or something. It's like, you know, if literally everyone is saying this shit, maybe you stupid ass old piece of shit, you know, you're a rich midget. You know, if you had no money, you'd have no women, you stupid fuck. Anyway, but anyway, whatever. I'm getting mad. I haven't even heard the clip yet, but I can already imagine it. So the point is, it's very tiresome to hear boomers and Gen X and shit say the same fucking shit over and over again about the women shit.
Own homelands, the utter betrayal of the people of Europe by their own governments. You know, it is such a betrayal. I don't think anything could disgust me more than what's going on in the Western world right now, and Zoomers see this for what it is. They're becoming ungovernable, right? As these narratives that have been so sticky, so toxic for so many decades. This is the enforced boomer truth of society. And as it waxes and wanes and eventually begins to crumble, everything about the old order that led us to this point is being questioned. With regime gatekeepers like Piers Morgan literally humiliated on their own shows, the argument against Europe...
Well, the thing is, this is a sad thing though, is yes, humiliated in the eyes of young people, but they're only talking to each other. The boomers only care about each other's opinion. There's old, like their flesh is rotting off of them. Like literally, there's probably skin falling off them. They're so goddamn old, and they don't care. Like it's still their world as long as they have money, right? If they haven't been culturally enriched enough, you know, there haven't been some friendly crimers deposited into. Anyway, I mean, I don't. Whatever. I'm gonna hold back from saying anything too edgy, but the point is, honestly, I don't think Piers Morgan gives a fuck. Honestly, even though he did look like a fucking clown, like the Finkelstein retard, that is some parody shit. I just love how a lot of these fucking Jews are literally smiling as they're lying to you, and we're supposed to take their supposed suffering seriously. You know what that reminds me of? It fucking reminds me of one of the parents from Sandy Hook was smiling as he was talking about his supposed child having died or something. You know, of course I would never question the event or anything. It obviously definitely happened 100%. But it's like these people can't even lie convincingly, but because it's a horrible tragedy, you will believe it no matter what.
European nationalism has become so flimsy and so spiteful and transparently genocidal that, you know, the Zoomers have just had enough. They're just going to call you out. Oh, your mom died in the Holly, so I can't have a future? I don't get to have a wife? I don't get to have a fucking family? I have to relinquish the inheritance of thousands of years of Western civilization because of your personal ethno-religious grievances? The audacity, it's absurd. The fact the boomers went along with this for so long says a lot about the boomers, about how fucking evil they are and how retarded they are. You know, if anything, if I was like an arch Aldmeri elven mage in the 90s, I'd have these boomers dancing on a string. I'd have the world in the palm of my hand. And there lies part of the issue, really. It's that when you achieve absolute power through nefarious means, you know, through subversion, then eventually when you get lazy, when you get too comfortable, you start making mistakes. You start to push a little too far. You take a little bit too much. You leave people.
Sad thing is they've done that 1,000 times already. I feel like since the end of Occupy Wall Street, they've done absolutely fucking insane shit and gotten away with it time and time and time again. That's the problem. That's why it's so demoralizing, is because you'll see them just like, again, tricks. You could just say literally anything related to them, and it'd be like, this is literally something people wouldn't even believe 20 years ago if you told someone about it. They'd be like, there's no fucking way that would ever happen. It's like, yeah, because you think that you can think for yourself and have beliefs, but no, if peer pressure, you'll crumble. Your morality will crumble in a split second because you've got no fucking balls and you won't do anything about it. You know? But anyway, to get back to the point, yeah, they've already made like a million mistakes. The thing is, people won't take action because of the bread and circuses, right? We're all waiting for the moment someone will do something, but it still hasn't happened, you know?
Embittered. And this has been compounding over multiple generations. So, you know, when you get to the Zoomers, you get to a generation of men who know that they have no future. They know that their future was sold years ago out from under them. And they're being told, oh yeah, if you complain, then you're a fucking bad person. And this kind of gaslighting one-shotted millennials for the most part, you know? I mean, we've been described recently as the lost generation. I mean, there was just this article released from Compact Magazine, which was a massive expose on DEI, hiring practices, anti-white corporate culture. And usually these kind of articles don't really get much traction, but this is from a mainstream publication. It's forcing a lot of these mainstream goon journalists to defend the existence of these DEI policies at a fundamental level. It's like, oh, so the reason why we have this culture in the West is to hold down and punish white men. And then you go, well, why? And you get a...
I know I said I didn't want to start drama or shit or something to that effect earlier, but that's why I don't really want to watch rehab room videos anymore, because it's so obvious whenever like the issue of anything related to white people comes up, he just deflects completely and just says it has nothing to do with that, because everything has to do with whether you're ugly or good looking. It's like, okay, but there factually the system does not want to hire white people. I mean, this is something that's been proven a million times, but he's sticking his fucking head in the sand because unironically, like the incel ideology is the only, like it's all consuming for him. He doesn't have any room in his head left. Yeah, I know. He is brown. That's Turkish, if I remember right, or something, right? Yeah.
A lot of, well, that's just the way it is. Well, it's not as bad as you think. Well, it's not really happening. Oh, yes, it was happening, but that's a good thing. You know, you get the usual obfuscation, but the Zoomers are sitting here going, that's not a good enough reason. Your weird, neurotic, Judaized brain that hates white people, that's not a good enough reason to discriminate against an entire race of men ruining their lives in their own societies. And they go, but you can't ask these questions. It's racist, you know, it's bigoted, it's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, sorry, the thought kill doesn't work anymore. This is the new era we've entered where these kinds of post-World War II shibboleths have completely lost their power, you know, and they don't work anymore as intended, which is to shut down the conversation. So suddenly, a new generation of young men is looking back at their own history. They're looking back at the values and the morality of their parents critically as they struggle, as they despair for the future, as they live as men among the ruins of a once great civilization. And they ask the question, well, what the fuck was the point of all this? If the ultimate fruit of anti-racism and anti-fascism and the suppression of European nationalism is that Europe and the world is destroyed, then what the fuck are we doing here? What's the point of all this? Maybe you can go fuck yourself next time you try and guilt trip me for the audacity of wanting my culture and people to continue to exist into the future. You know, I would not deny that to any people in the world. It would be a tragedy to watch the Japanese people replaced in their country and their culture destroyed and pissed on over blood libel, over lies. You know, nothing could be more evil than something like that. And that is what is happening to us. Normal European men that want families and want to be able to...
The thing is, leftists want to destroy that shit too. Even people who pretend to be anime fans is kind of like what we were talking about earlier with the whole BA stream stuff. It's like, oh yeah, I love anime except for that icky misogyny, icky, you know, you can name any number of problematic, you know, anime tropes. There's many of them. They love anime except all those things that are crucial to anime culture. People apply that to anything. That's just, you know, non-existent morality, normal shit. Where it's just like they want to be part of the group so fucking bad, and every time you let them in, if you don't gatekeep them out, they just destroy it. Doesn't matter what it is. They love destroying shit because they don't even really like the stuff. They like little bits and pieces of it, and then they demand everything fits their taste, you know. And a lot of it does come back to women because they're usually the ones who have the issues to begin with that demand things be changed. And it's like, fucking, why do you even care about this hobby in the first place, is my question. They just want to be included. But they also want to destroy the thing at the same time. They need the attention.
Have a future. So I'm on their side. Anyone that's on the globalist side, you're a piece of shit traitor. You know, this is the sentiment that's fast becoming ubiquitous among the Zoomer male contingent. You know, these are men with really nothing to lose because they haven't built careers. They were shut out from day one. They weren't allowed to follow their dreams. They weren't.
Well, see, that's the thing I keep talking about, though, is it's like, despite theoretically having nothing to lose, we're still not seeing action. I don't know if we will see action. I certainly would never advocate for any actions, YouTube. Don't worry. Ever. I would never do that. Ever. Never do things. But, you know, if someone were to do that and maybe save us from this torment, things got to get worse. They got to get significantly worse, I think. This is kind of unrelated. But I was watching a couple YouTube shorts earlier. I never scroll. Like the scrolling shit, the brain dead scrolling shit, no, I never do that. I'll watch one, back out, and then like I'll sometimes, yeah, they'll have a list of them. You can swipe left to right and stuff. But so, excuse me. I was watching one that was Black Friday, like 2000s to Black Friday now. It's like, you know, Black Friday 20 years ago. People are like trampling on each other because the deals are so good or whatever. Black Friday now, it's like one 60-year-old guy going into a nearly empty Walmart because the deals are shit. Like they're barely even deals to begin with, right? And so one of the comments, it was like a reply to one of the top comments, was just straight up like, clearly you need socialism. That'll solve this problem. You already live in an autocracy. Blah, blah. It's like, God damn, you fucking retarded ass subhumans. It's like you live in a fantasy world. You're like, yeah, the society where everyone darker than you just destroys everything around them, takes advantage of people. Yeah, every opportunity they have. I'm just going nuclear level racist. Anyway, the point is, these people have never been around dangerous people their entire life. You can tell. These are the champagne socialists who have never been anywhere near a ghetto, anywhere near any low-income area, period. You know, just everyone's like me. Everyone loves each other and just wants the best for everyone. It's like, you are not an adult. You're a fucking baby. You have the mind of a toddler. Why do you think your opinion has value, you fucking freak? God. And it's like, all it was is a YouTube short about how Black Friday deals suck now. Everything's too expensive. And of course, some retard has to come in and say, like, what if socialism? What if we were all lived in fantasy land and everyone... It's like, oh my God. Yeah, how did socialism work for every other country that tried it? Oh yeah, it just... I'm getting more black pill. The population of SARS is increasing. India is doing nothing to stop it. Yeah, I'm shocked India functions. They really found a way to like somehow keep their personalized idiocracy. Yeah, I mean, if you watch the movie Idiocracy, somehow that society is still working. So I guess that's another thing that was kind of predicted correctly. But I don't know. It's kind of baffling in a way that things like there aren't like mass famines and disease like killing off millions and shit. That's what we should be hearing about every day, but we're not, which is concerning.
Allowed to become the next generation of video game developers and bring their own ideas and perspectives into the wider cultural conversation. You know, they were shut out and spat upon for no other reason than they are racially European. You know, this is just an insane dynamic to exist in for as long as we have. The circus is now on fire, you know, and the people that should be putting out the flames are standing around looking left and right and going, I don't know, what's going on? Zoomers are Nazis, and 11-year-old boys in the UK need to be subjected to feminist indoctrination training now. It's like, burn it all down. Like, burn it all down, and don't just burn it down. Hold the people that created this system accountable. Because the alternative is way worse. Accountability restores order. Seeing these Bolshevik freaks punished in some tangible way for destroying not only our lives, but our entire society and our future, will be part of the reconciliation of the West if it ever happens, but it's absolutely
Truth and
necessary.
reconciliation.
The backlash is inevitable. If I was a fucking sniveling regime apparatchik with a long internet history of activism and being a complete faggot, I would be sweating right now because, you know, all the evidence is there. We know who did this to us. And now that these psychic chains of guilt are beginning to loosen, and you know, the European people...
Chex, are you joking? He was on Chudcast. What do you mean? This is he actually was on Chudcast.
Are beginning to develop a consciousness, like a group consciousness. Again, we were sold a lie, we got scammed, and now everybody knows it. You know, now we've kind of begun to wake up. And
the thing is, you know, I once again throw my 2 cents. I just think if I had to make a prediction of what's going to happen for a while, it's likely just going to be an escalation of quiet quitting. The real question is Zoomers checking out from society going to outpace immigration? I think that's the ultimate question, because the elites are never going to give up on immigration. So assuming there's not going to be some kind of race war, you know, assuming that's not going to happen, I assume it's just going to be more and more, you know, people checking out of society, and the rapidly aging boomers are going to hope that Mexicans, Indians, Muslims, et cetera, replace that workforce fast enough that things don't start collapsing, right? That's my prediction, assuming there is no boogaloo, basically.
There's no debate to be had. You know, the people that are trying to defend DEI discrimination, they have no argument. They got too comfortable just mashing that jackboot against our faces decade after decade. Well, the boomers sat in deck chairs.
That's what they've been doing the whole time. Well, the quiet quitting is a recent phenomenon, though. I mean, you can say it happened in, you know, controlled amounts, in the sense that, like, any individual can decide to be less efficient at work. But the phenomenon of people, like men in mass not working, is something that is that's an escalating exponential issue. That's why I'm saying, will they be able to, you know, import enough replacement workers to keep society stable? I mean, we've already had multiple instances where there's been shortages, where, you know, trucking has, you know, dude, my brain is getting real fried in real time. I don't know why I'm this tired. I really am tired, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, we've already had shortage issues multiple times in the past 5 years. I assume it's only going to get more frequent if people decide to check out society because they can't get families and there's no point in existing, right? No point in working.
That's not my problem. Young people are lazy, am I right? You know, sips margarita. Meanwhile, millennials have been raped for as long as we've been adults. And
the rats.
The Zoomers were born in darkness. The thread of fate severed, cursed to persist in the doomed world that the boomers created, you know, and then they're still alive, you know, somehow they're still here lecturing us and saying, well, what are you, a racist? It's like, fuck you, you know, we don't want to be slaves anymore. We're going to take back our future and our dignity. Whether you think it's racist or not, you fucking retards. You know, congratulations on destroying the world. You know, and even my own parents, well, at least my father, right, will never acknowledge any of this. They live in an alternate reality created by Jewish television programming. Just a bizarre situation. Like, never has an entire civilization been subverted and destroyed through nothing but psychological warfare. But that's really what happened. You know, that is the power of media.
Not just that, it's the power of equal rights as well. Let's see. Like, listen, you can't separate those two things. if it was, it's that, like, let's be, like, I'm not going to say men can't be brainwashed. Obviously they can. But the thing is, men are more manipulated by access to pussy than they are by media propaganda, right? They're directly connected. If the women are manipulated by the media, and then they cut off access to pussy unless the men comply, then clearly we need to get to the root. You see where the root of this problem is? Yeah, like, I feel like I have to bring it up every time.
And it's why we find in the West our media is so tightly controlled, you know, and it's why they keep remaking things. They are trying to create this synthetic mythology for the younger generations that continues the post-World War II propaganda, right? It's like, you know, it gets tiring after 80 years, and yet we need more shows about Nazi hunters. We need more video games about how white men are the biggest villains in history. You know, this is the Judeo-boomer truth that must be continuously reinforced decade after decade via media and entertainment and academia and all these captured institutions that should be working in service of the public good. They are exposed, finally, as what they really are, instruments of European genocide. That's what Gamergate was really about. You know, they destroyed video games because that was a little bit of culture that kept the young white kid from falling completely into despair. That's how much they hate that kid for being white, you know? And that kid is all of us.
Shit, I basically said that a bunch of times. I feel like more or less exactly what he said. I mean, it really is just, okay, here's, you know, a form of entertainment that became so, you know, unpredictably popular in a short amount of time, and the Jews didn't really have their hand in it that much for the most part. So of course that had to change, and boy did it change very, very quickly. They destroyed that shit in record fucking time, dude. I mean, it's such recent history. That's why it's crazy that there's so much gaslighting, and it's why I've become like, I think I've almost gaslit myself into, hi Sam,
Little dog.
hey, what a cuteness.
The dog is little. Dude.
She hates that. You hate this, don't you?
She hates this. She was a fool. She's trying to eat something. So
What
now
was she
she's gotten
eating?
picked up. I have no idea.
What's wrong with you?
Scrounging around your carpet.
Yeah. She loves
Dude.
eating crap. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. Well, yeah. Anyway, so, you know, they destroyed video games. I mean, like, I feel like if their goal was just to insert propaganda, the video games would still be at least, like, good on some level. I mean, yes, I would say they're woke, of course, but I mean, so many woke games are dog shit. Like, 98%, 99%, something like insanely high, right? Unless, you know, I guess you could say maybe if you factor in like indie devs putting their ideology, it's maybe not quite as high, but it's still pretty high, you know. AAA woke games, it's like 99% or shit. So this is not a coincidence, you know. Like, they clearly, not only did they insert their propaganda in, but they also just destroyed the entire medium for no reason. Just because it's in their nature. It's in their nature to corrupt and destroy, as they say.
Chud used to be that kid. This that kid is all of us. Every chud used to be that kid.
Yeah, me.
This
literally me.
Blatantly evil and discriminatory corporate DEI culture has been reinforced and encouraged and funded at every level. You know, well, now things are starting to shift. The funding's drying up. The people are waking up. The emperor has no clothes. And does anybody have sympathy for these people whose life's purpose was to, at best, nip in the bud every authentic creative impulse that a young white man might have to make something cool or archetypal or based? for the entire world to enjoy. You know how we used to do it? You look at the remake culture in video games. You look at the recently announced Halo Combat Remade or whatever, Campaign Evolved, sorry, right? This is a remake of the Halo 1 campaign for a modern audience, and it's already being poorly received by the Halo community. People aren't looking for more hyper-realistic graphics and butchered art design and atmosphere, any problematic themes or content potentially removed. There is no appetite to see Halo remade in Unreal Engine by gay communists, in 2026 or whatever.
And Indians.
It's TikTok for 343 Industries. It's TikTok for a lot of these media professionals in general. It's TikTok for Zionist influencers. It's TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, it's basically just another way of saying everything is flavor of the month or flavor of the week. Or because TikTok is like flavor of the minute. It's just like, oh, what's going on right now? Oh, Halo remake is out. Okay, awesome. It's the best thing ever. What's the next thing? Oh, giant fucking piece of shit is out. It's the greatest thing ever. What's the next thing? It's like, fuck all of you fucking bugmen. God, if you're even people. Again, dead internet theory. That was the thing I was talking about right before Devin got here. How many are just bots or, Indian bot farms? I don't know. How many are chat bots? How many are Indians? How many real people actually believe anything with conviction? How many real humans are even alive on the planet? How deep does the rabbit hole go?
For the entire myth of the 20th century, as mass society itself approaches what they call a preference cascade. It's a tipping point where slowly but surely the world will come to accept and internalize the fact that the Gamergators were right all along. That original team at Bungie, they really represent what I loved about that era of the industry. You have passionate, talented young nerds.
Well, listen, V said it's baby's first FPS and it sucks. So, sorry. You know the rules.
Are willing to work overtime and pour blood, sweat, and tears into a product that they are proud of, and as gamers, they would love to play. And for my generation, Halo made a huge impact. It was the most competently made console FPS of the time. Marty O'Donnell's absolutely stellar soundtrack. I mean,
listen, you see me and Thomas having fun playing the game, and you fucking PC boomers, fuck you. You never had fun before in your life. When your uncle touched you when you were 3 years old, yeah, you stopped having fun after that. Fuck you, anyway.
This alone elevates the game. It's like a sci-fi FPS, but with this Gregorian church choir and these ambient soundscapes and synth. It's just a perfect soundtrack. It's very original, and it really hammers home the stakes of the fight. This is a story about the last stand of humanity, an archetypal battle for the survival of your people. This is why young men.
Dude is fun with friends, scope is slop. What are you talking about, though? You didn't have fun by yourself playing any game ever. That's the point. No profile pic. The only modicum of fun you're having is trying to troll in this chat. That's how I know you've never had fun.
Really love Halo. And, what is the deal with these aliens? They're almost comedic looking, and yet they're genocidal. They're genocidal, funny looking aliens. Half played for comic relief, but then, of course, you have the elites that are genuinely intimidating. So the player ends up inhabiting this strange space between comedic relief and xeno-genocidal terror, which shouldn't even work, but, it does, and it doesn't detract from the seriousness of the overall plot. These Marines are terrified. They're staring death in the face, and when they see Chief coming, the 8-foot-tall cyborg super soldier, John 117, one of the last remaining Spartans alive, when they see him ride into the battlefield, it energizes the soldiers. It gives them hope. That's what Master Chief represents. He's almost a Christ-like video game protagonist, and that he represents hope and the indomitable spirit of humanity. Chief will never stop fighting. That's his purpose. You know, he's almost bred as a warrior, but he's more than just a cyborg. You know, he's more than just a government-sponsored weapon.
You know what's funny? If I wasn't a lazy fuck, that would be a good Game is Dying style video where it's just like all your heroes are dead or something. Maybe I should watch that, write that down. All your heroes are dead. Anyway, but the point of the video is that modern heroes always have to have help from like random, you know, goy cattle. We'll just put it that. Like I'm thinking of like Metroid Prime 4, how Samus has to have help from the Galactic Feds. It's just like, no, they should be disposable background characters, which is, I don't have a problem with having AI teammates in games and stuff. Like the Marine characters in the Halo games, they do contribute, but they are background characters and they fucking die. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you have these invincible subhumans who are annoying as shit with millennial humor just completely destroys the power fantasy. Like there's no power fantasy in video games anymore, and that's what this video would be about. But I think All Your Heroes Are Dead is a good title, though. It's a good title. Hold on, I'm just writing this shit down because my memory sucks. Alright, anyway, I just had to write that down.
Although he may be perceived as such by a lot of the brass and the higher-ups in the UNSC, amongst the common grunts, you know, the infantry and the Marines.
Yeah, I read the supers. I mean, I know there's more, but yeah, I know. About 3 hours into the stream, I read up, so if you did yours sometime in that time frame, I read it.
As a savior of mankind. Uniquely heroic, even when compared to other Spartans, and feared by the Covenant so much so that he ends up having a demoralizing effect on the aliens. You know, they call him Demon, because he represents, to them and on some religious level, a spirit of vengeance and destruction, you know, because of course John 1:17 leaves no aliens alive in his wake. It doesn't matter why they want humanity exterminated. What matters is that they are stopped. What matters is that they are resisted with the full force and spirit of humanity. You know, it's like, no, we're not going to roll over. We're not going to black pill. We are going to fight to the last man.
Yeah, dude, the whole like destroy the flood or whatever, ice. That's like, that legit was like an alt-right tweet. Like, I don't know if it was necessarily intended that way by ICE, but like, holy shit, that's probably the only time I've seen the government actually like. The thing is, their definition of flood and mine are very different. This is the thing. But holy fuck, that was insanely based. I don't think I've seen the government ever do something that based.
And that's what Halo is actually about. And, you know, I thought it was kind of a bad decision in Halo 2 to give the aliens more backstory, to have their dialogue be translated into English. You have Terrence Stamp voicing the Prophet.
DHS posted a Christmas Agartha. See, they're trying to take control of that shit so they can manipulate the narrative.
Aliens. And not like,
because the DHS
cute little
Twitter account was created by Israel,
hostile,
so
organized, militaristic aliens. And if we don't stop them, we're toast. You know, that is the type of political reality that these woke developers at 343 are scared of. You know, they don't want to go there. They don't like that aspect of Halo because it's too real, too contrary to the...
L.T. Coley, are you an illegal immigrant in my chat? Because I would destroy you in Minecraft as a flood entity that you are. You grossness. You absolute grossness. Yeah, call ICE on that fucking chatter.
Words Bolshevik morality of what is in essence a covenant in our world, right? A covenant of anti-white political groups and actors and activists. You know, they can barely agree on anything. But one thing they do agree on is the necessity for total erasure of quote-unquote white culture, whiteness, white supremacy, the anti-white sickos making Halo right now. The absurdity of it all is that they're worse than the Covenant. You know, at least the Covenant fought humanity head on. They put their cards on the table. They declared their intentions openly. The woke Covenant IRL, they want the same thing for the European people, total annihilation. But they lie about it. They obfuscate their intentions. They try and mindfuck people. They try and lead people into ruin. They try and trick people. They have to utilize a level of deception that is truly sickening. You know, it's far more evil than even the evil coalition of alien fucking genociders, you know? At least they were honest about it, whereas we've been boiled slowly.
Oh, I see. No, he was just saying Halo sucks. Is he behind in the stream or something? I thought the guy was talking about the whole the flood thing, you know, the TGT gamer or whatever.
Decade after decade, generation after generation, since 1945, effectively gaslit into committing civilizational suicide. And now everyone knows who's responsible. You know, there are people who are still trying to lecture us, telling us that, oh, it's immoral for the European people to exist into the future. It is immoral to create a world that isn't hostile to white children. It's like, fuck you, you disgusting.
He's about to say the 14 words. Here it comes.
Sicko. I think it's time for RB and the Chief to glass Israel.
Yeah, true. 1 second, happen. Yeah, why the hell didn't the Covenant glass the Middle East instead of Africa? That would have been based. I need to find for my next Fallout review. I need to find in the lore, because people were saying in the Fallout lore that Tel Aviv got nuked. I'm gonna say that in my next video. I'll be like, I wonder why they are subverting this so heavily. Food shortages is when the interesting things happen. Yep. Hunger trumps the wants and needs for pussy, job security, PS5. Yeah, and I feel like it's never going to quite get at that point. I know liberals love to pretend that we're already there. Like, oh my God, food's so expensive. As they say with like an 80-inch TV, $2,000 computer, etc., etc. You know, and like all the actual poor people are on welfare, so they just get free shit anyway. So, no, we are not at the starvation part. It's just people are melodramatic. If we ever reach that point, there probably will be actions. I agree, Brian. I agree. Yeah, I watched, not this one, but I did watch Big Bunchie's vid on Doctor Who, and it's even worse than I thought. Also, he had a great dig at the the anti-woke people, Nerdrotic and gang, where he said something like, people were praising the black gay Doctor Who as if it was a win for the right.